Hey everyone, Bigman here. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting a mini-series where we will be covering jets, and we'll be doing everything from starting with the very basics in this episode to working our way through to how to use them in generators, how to optimize them, reverse thrust, different methods, tips and tricks, everything. But today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through the very basics of jets and how you can make a very simple one such as this one, which will deliver thrust and power. Jets can be used for many things, such as obviously, thrust, but they can also be used for generators and VTOL and stuff like that. Although VTOL does come under thrust. So let's start by showing you guys how to build a jet. Okay, so I've just got a small raised platform here. So what we're going to be doing is, if you type jet into your component inventory, you'll find a selection of parts. It's about a dozen parts. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to need 4 things, and this is need. There are other parts you can add on, but you're going to need a small or large jet intake, compressor, a combustion chamber, and a turbine. Now, if you want to use this for thrust or use exhaust, we'll get onto that. Now, if you want to follow along with me, what I suggest is just starting with a small intake. Now, as you can see on the back, it's got a semicircular piece. This is the jet drive shaft. Now behind this we have to put a compressor. Again, make sure that it is lined up. If we delete that, you can see it's lined up. Next things next, combustion chamber. Make sure that your fuel can be accessed to one side, and we're going to put a jet turbine medium onto this. Now there are 2 different types of jet turbines. There is the medium and the small. Difference is, if we place one next to each other, you can see that the small turbine does not have any power output. So if you want to use a jet to become a generator, unfortunately you cannot use one of the small turbines, but you can use a medium, and when you use that, they put out a lot of power. Now if you want to use this for thrust, just add a jet exhaust onto the end. That's nice and easy. To make sure that this will all work, you'll see that every component that is majorly important of this jet all have arrows on them. Arrows all need to be facing in the direction of thrust. So as you can see, we start at the intake and then we go into the compressor, and we're moving to our right. So the arrows should be going to the right. Now that's done, what we're going to do is we're just going to get a fuel tank. So just type in fluid, and it'll come up with fluid tank. Now we're going to place one right here. You go into our select mode and click on this. You'll see that we have multiple options, and if you click on the right arrow, we'll scroll to jet fuel. We want to be on jet fuel. A jet will not run on diesel, similarly how a diesel engine will not run on jet. Okay, what we want to do now for our RPS, just to show you guys that it is working, I'm just going to get a propeller, and I'm going to put that on top there so that we can see actually that will be moving. Alright, now let's get some controls for this engine. We're going to need 2 throttle levers. If you're using this for a generator, you'd only need 1, but we're going to need 2. And so we're going to name these. So let's put this one to throttle, and then we're going to do thrust spoiler. Now the thrust spoiler, we'll probably want to put a start value of 1. And so what a thrust spoiler is that if you read here, the airflow spoiler for reducing effective thrust from the exhaust. What that means is that it takes a value from 0 to 1, where 1 is a complete reduction in thrust, and if it is at 0, all of the thrust from the engine is going to go outwards. Alright, and then we've got our throttle as well. Let's get a button. Let's just place that down there, and let's call this our engine power. Next, what we're going to do, go into our microcontroller editor. We're going to make a new microcontroller. Doesn't matter what it's called. Look, I'm just going to call it Jet Example. And we're going to add a few logic nodes. So we need firstly our toggle, which is going to be our engine power. We're going to need our starter, which is going to be an output or on off. We're going to need a number n, which is our RPS. We're going to need another number n, which is going to be throttle. Then we're just going to get a number out, and this is going to be our throttle. All right, extend your width so you can fit all 5 nodes on there, and then we're just going to spread them out. So our throttle is going to come over here. Throttle in over there, RPS, starter, toggle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get a couple properties. So we're going to get property number, hold shift because we're going to need 2 of those. So we're going to call one our start under RPS. So what this is going to do is it's going to say, hey, if our engine is on and we are under this RPS, so I'm going to make it 1, start the engine. They will ignite at about 0.75 RPS. So 1 is a nice safe number. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get a less than. We're going to get our RPS and we are going to put it into the B. We're going to put set number into A. So if A is less than B, so if RPS, if this number 1 is less than the RPS, so if the RPS is lower than 1, it will put an on signal out. What we're going to do now is just get an AND block, hook that up to our toggle and that, hook that to our starter is done. It's going to be a property number, rename this, call it max RPS. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set it to, let's say 100. We're going to get a multiply, not a times, a multiply, and we're going to get our throttle and a property number to multiply together to get a number out. Next, get a PID, toggle to our PID power, A times B to our set point, process variable from our RPS, control output to our throttle, and what we're going to do is we are going to, firstly, we're going to get a switch box, put our control output to our first value on, we're going to get a toggle there, also going to get a clamp, and let's just hook it like that, and make the max 1 and the minimum 0.1. Because that way, when we're decreasing our throttle, it doesn't shoot down and completely kill the engine, which is not what we want. We want a continuous amount of thrust. Now for tuning the PID, the last bit, so just make your proportional gain 0.5, derivative gain 0.1. This is my tuning. If you want to use someone else's tune setup, go ahead. It's not my choice, it's your choice. I just found that this is the best tuning setup I've ever seen for jets. So let's do this jet example. Let's get a jet example microcontroller. Place it down here. Now, we're not going to worry about electricity because I've got infinite electric on. So toggled, we're going to put to our toggle, starter, there we go, to our compressor. RPS, we're going to take this from our jet compressor or our turbine. It does not matter. I typically use the compressor or the combustion chamber. They will read the same thing. Now, our throttle 0 to 1 is going to go from our throttle lever, and then the throttle out is going to go to that. Awesome. Now, if we go into select mode, you can see our max RPS is 100, start on RPS is 1. Let's start that. So what you're going to do is we're going to go into our throttle. Let's just put it up a little bit. So 0.2, if the max is 100, that means we're going to target 20 RPS. Put our engine power on. Here we go. I'm going to hold G, and you can see that our RPS is slowly moving up. Ignites at 0.5, stops starting at 1 RPS, and we should make our way to 20 RPS. So let's just watch this here. There we go. We're sitting comfortably on about 19.6, and we are, we're sitting perfectly there. If we wanted to move this up to 30 RPS, it gets right up there as well. If we wanted to move down to 5 RPS, you can see it's clamped to 0.1 so that it doesn't kill the engine, which means we slow down and we eventually get 5 RPS. And there we go. And it should start building itself back up to get back to 5 RPS. So yeah, it's sitting around 5 RPS. So let's just turn that engine off for the noise. As you see, as soon as we hit the button, it turns off. So that's really all you need to know. If you want to output thrust from this, bring the thrust spoiler down and hold on for dear life. It's jabbed itself into the ground. Oh well. Okay, so there we go. We got an engine running solidly. Oh, we just burnt through the fuel. Yeah, so jets are not exactly the most fuel economical thing, but I think that's all you really need to know for today. The next episode will be going through different parts for engines and how to set up different ducts, etc., so that you can turn, this just very basic engine into, a larger engine with multiple exhausts and different ducts and being able to wind around things. So anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you for watching. Bye.